everybody. Welcome to the Sharon and Joe Show. My name is Sharon.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joe.
So, Joe, do you think we can come at them? Oh, we always laugh about that because they say we're coming at you. And Joe's always like, why do you say that?
We're coming at you from my garage.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay.
Coming at you from my garage.
What the hell does that mean? That means that we have 3 chickens in the background. We have crickets outside because we're half outside. And we have the marching band playing the music because the high school team is having a football game down the street.
Yeah. So that's exciting, right?
Yes, if you guys listen closely,
so we're coming at you.
We're coming at you.
Amongst all of this.
Yes, amongst all the chaos.
Amongst all this, Sharon and Joe are here.
Yes, in the middle of it.
Yes, right in the middle of the chaos. So, Joe, last week our video was, I think it was 1 minute and 40 seconds.
That was a world record for me, like talking as short as I ever did in my life. I just love to hear myself talk.
Well, do you remember something you said in the video?
Some cockamamie thing, like I was on my high horse because we're going to be free for a day from the kids and animals. Like, we'll have a great video for you next week.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, exactly. So now go, like, master, speak for us.
Well, okay, so let me think.
Let's have this fabulous show.
Our dogs are half blue because Sharon decided to do a makeover on them today and re-dyed their ears blue. They look like little Smurf dogs.
Yes.
The females do. Tupac was left alone, the male. But
so
the
it was
girls...
very sexist with the hair dye.
Yeah, but the girls got made up, so that was great. Sharon's hands are stained blue.
Yes, I look like I have like a Smurf fetish or something.
I told her that we need to get some Sharon and Joe doggy T-shirts for the dogs. That I thought would be cool.
See, that is such a good idea. You know, I just want to say one thing since you brought that up. It was 2 weeks ago, Joe and I were doing a video, and we were mentioning that I was wearing a Sharon and Joe T-shirt. And several of you bought a T-shirt after I said that in the video. So I wanted to say thank you. Joe and I both.
Yeah, thank you.
We're
coming up with some cool
excited.
ideas. We're going to get some cool bumper stickers. And what did I say? I forgot. Knock on board, please run us off the road or something like that for a bumper sticker. I don't know, but... something like that, narc-free dogs, and they have little like doggy T-shirts or something like that. But
yeah, because Joe and I were talking before about how our dogs are victims of narcissistic abuse.
Our animals are victims of MPD. So and one of them might even be one, little Fiona.
Oh my gosh, she's like the best dog in the world, you guys. But she's on her high horse. She's
self-entitled.
She's a little bit of a diva. Oh my gosh! And then it was a couple weeks ago. So sometimes the 2 girls, Belle and Fiona, they're always together. So sometimes my daughter will pick me up from work, and they are in the car and they're so cute. I can see them like waiting for me. So recently, my daughter picks me up, and I said to my boss, I'm like, oh, there's my daughter with the dog. He's like, oh my God, let me see. And he's like, oh, I want to see. So he comes out to meet the dogs. And Fiona bit him.
What a little bitch.
I know.
She's a shih tzu, you guys. She's like tiny too. Like she'll run it. The only time like she'll cuddle with me is if there's the big dogs outside or like somebody who's threatening her. She'll come right up to me and like right by my leg and won't leave it. Or when it's storming outside because she's scared of thunder. Yeah,
it's actually like cute though to see her.
Yeah, we got to get some dog. We got to get some pet animal.
Yes. And
where?
You know what? Yeah, I have actually a few ideas. So I'm going to leave a link down below of our little shop. So if you buy anything, it helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. And if there's any suggestions of things that you would like, because Joe has that funny idea for like the bumper stickers. I think that's awesome. We're going to get that for our cars.
There's some cool ones out there I could think of. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
Joe's very witty. So that'd be awesome. Well, yay.
So what do you want to talk about? I had a tough day a couple days ago.
Well, do you want to start talking about that?
Yeah, maybe so.
Keep it real on the Sharon and Joe Show?
Yeah, like recovery is very simple, but it's not easy.
Yep.
You know, and unfortunately, well, maybe fortunately, everything starts with awareness. I remember my first mentor, my first spiritual guide, always told me, he's like, Joe, everything starts with an awareness. When you bring it to the light, you know, it kind of, the universe will take care of it for you. But a couple of days ago, I had like this depression relapse. It was horrible, Sharon. This
when
winter,
you were telling me how bad it was, it alarmed me because I couldn't believe like it was that bad. Like the bad. Day you started feeling that way.
It's clinical, I think. I don't have to be diagnosed. And I don't, I'm all for that. Like if people have to be medicated, shit, man, like whatever. I just, I'm a recovered alcoholic and drug addict. So long before I met the narcissist, I was screwed up. I don't blame anymore the narcissists is like whatever, like they are what they are, we all know, but like it's not just for me recovering from narcissistic abuse. It's recovering from codependency. It's recovering from childhood trauma. It's recovering from, even in my own mind, I think some of the trauma I had, real or perceived, like some of it might be perceived. I don't know, but it was really bad. And this past winter was probably one of the worst times in my life as far as depression and hypervigilance. As far as the anxiety was just horrible. It was like every day was a Groundhog's Day. I didn't know what was going to happen from one minute to the next. The fear of the narcissist has kind of subsided. Thank God. It's not so much I'm afraid of what she's capable of doing. I don't ever want to go back to where I was in the wintertime. It was very, very disturbing a couple days ago. I'm so sick sometimes of people saying, yeah, and now I'm a better version of myself for the narcissist. I'm still at a point it's just like, when am I going to get back to where I was, let alone be a better version of myself? And, if I'm being honest with myself, there's things that I need to be doing for me, like for my sanity, for my peace of mind. Part of my recovery from alcoholism is going to a lot of recovery meetings, like being around people, being reminded of what it was like and what happened, and there's hope, there's step work that I need to be doing that I've been kind of just negating. I've gotten so far away from it. Like I went to a meeting tonight and it was just like there was some reprieve, a little bit of relief there, and it's just
I like
that's
you
simple.
coming home with I was actually nervous a little bit. Now, if he goes to these recovery meetings, I don't think I've ever known you to come home and be in a bad mood. But he really wasn't. He basically forced himself to go tonight. So I was hesitant when he came home, like, oh God, is he gonna be in a bad mood? And like right away you were like smiling. And I've said to you before, and this is for anybody really, if like Joe, he knows if he goes to these meetings, if he stays close to God, that you need that.
Yeah, and it's like it's not for people that need it, it's for people that want it. And that's the tricky part. Like on my way home though, I was very grateful. I talked to God.
Yeah.
And was just like, when I was younger, my father left when I was young, and my mother was a narcissist and alcoholic. I think she was a narcissist. She was something. Something was up, for sure. I believe that she probably was. But I was so mad at my dad for leaving me with her, and she did the best she could, man. She was. If it wasn't for her, we'd be on the street. But I remember, like, even being at a young age, like, being mad at my God. Like, why the F did you put me here on this earth and leave me? Like, knowing how screwed up my mind is and how...
And all this came out, like,
on the way home,
through.
It was just...
Well, sorry, I knew that, but I guess I
just
meant...
throughout my life.
Yeah. So your recovery is all these things that have happened and an accumulation of it.
Yeah, so it's not just narcissistic abuse, but when I stop doing what I'm supposed to be doing for my spiritual aspect, there's things that I have to do to be at peace. Like, my mind's like a bad neighborhood. It's like you don't want to be in it alone. For whatever reason, the way my mind is wired, it's like I need to be out of my mind in order to find God. If that makes any sense. Like,
no, it does.
There's times where I need peace and quiet to be able to study, or if I'm going to school or whatever the case is. But most of the time when I'm in my head, it's not a good place, man. And I was taught in recovery, that's like selfish and self-centeredness, like being up there in that mind is the root of my problems. I need to be out of myself, being a part of a solution, helping somebody else. I have a gift that I'm not using, and on the way home, I was just thanking God, because I'm a quick forgetter. Like, you didn't put me here alone. Like, you gave me some kind of a recovery support group that, like, really helps me get in tune with you, and I forget that sometimes.
You have so much support around you in so many ways, but I think this is just me playing, pop psychiatrist here. When you were dealing with stuff with the ex, nobody was really helping you, partly because you weren't telling people things that were happening. So it's like maybe like in your mind that there's just not ever going to be help for me. Like, even though like you
it's
have,
like a deer in the headlights. You ever see a deer get caught in the headlights? Like, they become paralyzed.
So like you see the help that you
fear
have?
comes in, and I'm just immobile.
So is that what happens when you don't go to meetings and things like that, or is that like in all ways? Like, when you're talking about fear.
Well, when I don't like get out of myself and I isolate like that, it's just a lonely, dark place to be in. It's just, and I don't know why I'm wired like that, like and how I get away from it. But the divorce definitely like
Triggered something.
having two kids and two cats, a dog, and like my car stolen, the electric turned off, like riding my bike 40 something years old back and forth to work because my car was stolen from the narcissist, and she took every penny I had. Was like,
it's traumatizing. Like,
well, it's not just that, then it triggers the trauma from when I was a kid.
Yeah, you got like Pandora's box.
Yeah, then I'm like, okay, if the problem is a narcissist, she's out of my life, what the hell's going on here? Because she's been out of my life, it's going on a year now, Joe, and you're still freaking miserable. Like, it took a lot of work.
It's amazing to me. Like, do you feel this way sometimes? Like, when you think about, and Joe and I are Christians, so just like this is where this comes from. But when you really think about the things that God has done for us and the way that he makes things happen, like you're talking about, like you, to get to a certain point, you needed and you need to go through the things that happened to you as a child, right? The narcissist was just kind of like the push out the door.
For me,
but
yeah.
that happened to me too. Like I said in the video, and I've talked to you about this before, when that day, like it's like my radio day, when I suddenly, I mentioned this, like April 21st, 2016, Prince died, and something triggered in me the way that it's a long story. Basically, something happened on April 21st, 2016 that cured me of codependence. And once that happened, I was living like a completely different life. But first, I had to go over some things that happened. Like I had to get through it. Like, and one of them was going through like a breakup with a boyfriend. And it seems like mild. Like, what? Who cares? This happened a long time ago.
You had to have the ability to look at your part.
Yes.
Like you had to, you had to have a capacity to be honest with yourself.
And I switched. Like when I first began thinking about this, I had it the completely opposite way that I have it now. So that's
the truth will set you free.
Yes.
That's true. Like when you have enough courage to be honest with yourself.
And that's a huge part of narcissistic recovery.
Is being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you could claim that you're not a victim, but unconsciously live
Are you
it.
living like one?
Because you don't know how screwed up you are. And I'm talking about me. I'm not. People could be normal. I mean, I guess there's normal people out there. I'm not one of them. But I truly believe for me is that this was like the ultimate pain. This was the ultimate, like, and unfortunately, like, I have a high threshold. My endurance for pain is very high, which is why I wound up homeless on the streets at the age of 25 years old, an alcoholic and drug addict. You know, it's like I had to take an orange jumpsuit and behind the bars, and not even that. Like it was either prison or death. You know, that was what I was looking at. So my story was when I got into recovery when I was 25. I went in full blown. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I didn't want to live that way anymore. I saw what happened to my mother, and I jumped in. You know, I was all on board, and 9 months later, I meet the narcissist at a meeting, and here she's pregnant, and then I want to do the right thing, and it's like my recovery kind of stopped. I was still going to meetings, but there's drama and chaos going on with narcissists, let alone a recovered alcoholic. And I was thinking, like, here, you guys, like, I'm on the brink of 50. And it's like all these dreams and hopes I had of a family and getting out from, like, moving up the social ladder and the hard work that I put in, all it was for nothing. And I just realized, like, no, man, like, I get another chance at this without the distraction of, unfortunately, like, crossing paths with a narcissist again and go in full blown into, like, a spiritual way of life. Like I'm given a second chance, and I just sort of realized that tonight. Autumn's on its way, you guys. Where we live, we have the 4 seasons, and fall is the most beautiful time of the year for me. I love it. Like people from the extremes, the winter and the summer, they can come together in the fall, and they could all be friends, like the summer of '69 or whatever. But like the change of the leaves, and it's been so dark for me these last couple of years, and even in death, like with the leaves dying is beauty. Like they turn these brilliant colors of orange and red, and it's just beautiful. And it's just, there's beauty in things, and I feel a change is in the air.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know this is part of the reason why you even mention this on the channel. And I've done this before too with different things. I've used the channel as a way to keep myself accountable, to make sure that I follow through and do the things that I say I'm going to do. So I know you've been suffering, and it came back the other day for a little bit. And the thing about Joe that you guys don't know is that he is a worker. And if he tells you he's going to do something, he does it. And I know that. So I have security with that. But at the same time, I've seen Joe so down that it actually does affect me. If you
Unfortunately, I've told my kids this too. Like, whether we like it or not, we're all interconnected.
Yeah, exactly.
I realized that when I got sober. It was just like I was hurting
Yeah.
my parents, my loved people that loved and cared about me. I didn't mean to, but I was.
Yeah.
And now my oldest one is actively like dabbling around, and it hurts, but I get it. You know, it's just like one day he may be ready. The seed's been planted. I love
Yeah.
him. I pray for him. But yeah, part of the reason why I guess I brought it up was to hold myself accountable. Like, what am I going to do about it now?
Exactly.
You know, and it's just like, oh yeah, okay. So I've got to be around my kind of people. I've got to have that message of hope.
Yeah.
When I go, it puts
When you
things
say, like, do you mean like going to meetings?
yeah.
Okay.
Going to meetings and being around
Yeah.
my kind of people.
Yeah. I just
Like,
wanted other people to understand what you meant.
brilliant people that were homeless, people
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that weren't. So you know, somebody drank too much wine, whatever the case is. Like, we all kind of have the same mindset, but like it helps put things into perspective too. Like, it prioritizes like
Yeah.
what's important, dude. Like, what's important.
I've been to some of these meetings with you, and I can really get like why that would help somebody, because there's like support there, but it's not like in your face. Like, you can take a lot of support, or
It's there for you. It's
Yeah.
like you can either jump in or not, or to dabble around with it.
Yeah.
But like, there's things that remind me, like, am I doing this? Am I doing
Yeah.
that? Am I doing? Oh no. Well, no wonder, dummy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's simple. It's just not easy. But it's like anything. Recovery from anything is like, you got to want it.
Yeah.
And
Well, you explained it to me, I think, in a really, really good way, because I never would have thought this before you said it, that at some point when you are in like active addiction, or, you know, you haven't, I know recovered isn't the right word, but you haven't like moved forward the way that you want to, that you lose willpower, that doesn't exist anymore.
yeah, what I learned from addiction, and I thank God, like, it's been able to help me with like the narcissist too,
Yeah.
because I heard a lot of psychiatrists and people say, like, of clinical background, like, the dynamics of a codependent and narcissistic relationship with cluster B is very much like an addiction, like very much, and it affects your chemicals in like your serotonin levels and stuff, just
I
like
can see that,
like a
yeah.
heroin or crack addict,
Yeah.
like the withdrawal. And the one thing that hit home was, at least for me, it was complete abstinence.
Oh my
I had
God.
to have complete abstinence. I couldn't, like, when it came to alcohol, and I know we're not talking about addiction and alcohol, but I always thought it was like the third or fourth one that got me. It was never that. It was the first one. Once I put it into my system, there was like this allergy that my drug of choice was more. Like, if one makes me feel like this, then maybe seven. So I was able to take that same concept with the no contact. I call it complete abstinence from the narcissist. The narcissist was like a drug.
Yeah.
And the withdrawal symptoms and the feelings were very much like drugs. And I tried to incorporate the same step work that I used to recover from alcoholism and drug addiction. And it was difficult because there's not support groups around the way there are for drugs and alcohol for narcissists. Many people don't even understand what the frick you're going through.
Oh,
They
yeah.
look at you like, why don't you just get out of it, you dummy?
Yeah.
Well, first off, I'm codependent. I got childhood issues. I got trauma. And, like, you don't get it. So
Oh, yeah.
it's hard to discuss with somebody that's quote-unquote normal.
Yep.
But it definitely, I was able to give some input and feedback to help other people out, because if you treat it like an addiction, it's like, if you hang out at a barbershop every day, you're bound to get a haircut. So, like, anywhere close proximity to narcissists or their friends or their flying monkeys, you're bound to pick that up again, which is like breaking the no contact. It starts there.
Yeah.
Like, then you have a chance. At least you have a chance, but it starts there. Not recovery necessarily, because I was learning about NPD and stuff while I was with her, but the chance to become free from myself in my
So
mind.
that's where you're working right now.
Yeah, it's freedom from the bondage of my own mind, myself, you know?
Okay.
And everybody's backgrounds are different. For me, though, it was looking at myself, and I had to get honest with myself today. Like, I do not want to go back where I was in the winter. It scared the shit out of me a couple of days ago. I was like, if this sticks, like, I'm not going to make it through. Even in the wintertime, I was telling you, like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through. I was being very honest.
I know. Oh, God, you guys. It's been very difficult at times. You know, when Joe tells you that he's going through it, that he's going through it. And Joe's like a strong guy. Like, it doesn't go well with you. It's just, but I know what it's
It
done.
was difficult for my friends. A lot of them,
Yeah.
they saw a guy that woke up at 4:30 in the morning and trained twice a day, a single father, and all this happy horse shit ego stuff. They looked up to me, and I go into the desert and I disappear, and they're like, "What the hell's wrong with you, dude? You should be celebrating. Like you didn't, you were delusional if you thought you had something good, dude. I'm so happy for you." And they didn't understand, you know.
I know. Yeah, well, that's a tough thing. That's how it is for all of us. I would imagine, because it does seem so. Like I mentioned in a video last week, you know, my view when it came to losing weight, say, would just be, well, eat less, exercise more. There you go, nice and tidy. You know, if you have an issue with the narcissist, well, just leave them. But just leave them, and you're all set. But you know that just doesn't happen.
I was always told from when I got sober, like, the solution is to help somebody else out.
Yeah.
You have to accept the gift first in order to give it. You can't give away what you don't have.
Right.
I remember at the beginning of your channel, like, you were going through it, and your first instinct was to reach out and let other people know about this and try to help people. In contrast to my first instinct is to go into the desert, I call it, and just isolate. So when I'm out trying to be a small part of somebody else's life and help them in some kind of way, whatever problems they're going through, my problems aren't problems anymore.
Yeah.
And I forget about the issues that I'm having in my head, and I'm more concerned with somebody else. And I get my gratitude that way, and my appreciation for life.
You know, there's a phrase for that, it's like a medical phrase, and I can't think what it is, but essentially, and this has happened to us before too, I'm sure many of you as well, like if you get in a fight with somebody, like sometimes you're not going to solve it then, you must be separated, and it does something to your brain. I don't know if it's serotonin or what, but you can revisit
you level
it.
out.
Yeah,
And kind of
you're cooling off, I guess. But that's like a real thing, and I think it's kind of like that when it comes to like a narcissist in some ways. You know what I mean? You're as you're going through the recovery.
There's a lot of peeling of the onion layer.
Yeah.
You know, then you find out, okay, as a narcissist, well, I got a bigger problem, me.
Yeah.
My best thinking
That's,
got me.
I know, isn't that, when you said that to me, you're the one who started that whole process with me, actually looking at myself, because I don't have any problems. My problem is the narcissist. Then when you recognize, holy God, like, that's not true at all. Why am I with someone who abused me for 20 years?
What's my problem?
Yeah,
yes.
yes.
And then learning to forgive yourself, then the connection with God, and then going out and you know, I was reminded today, like, I have a gift, you know. I'm not using that gift.
Right.
And maybe that's why I'm in pain. You know, it was a good reminder. It's just I'm going to step up at my meetings. I started going back to the gym. That's very important for me. You know, the gym is kind of like when I first got sober, I hated myself so much, and I don't know why, you know. And I first got sober, and I ran like 5 miles. I haven't run in so many years, and I think I puked and couldn't walk for a day. Something happened, but I was just like, I liked the pain. It was just like good, you know. And I was able to transmute that anger and rage into something positive for myself, and learning to conquer my mind and my discipline. And if I went by feelings, which I never feel like doing anything, nothing would ever get accomplished. And it was just went hand in hand with my spiritual. It all yoked together, and I wanted to I started last week, and I just want to continue and see what happens from there.
So we'll talk about this as we go on the
Yeah,
dates,
absolutely.
just to make sure.
It makes me sad. Some people start drinking and using pills, and like after the narcissist, like when they leave,
Yeah.
then they start abusing medication, and like I understand that pain, man. Like nobody's business.
That. I think
like
anybody
more
can, right?
like maybe I don't know. I just know that dark place, but I also know like that if you keep blaming the narcissist, you're gonna miss the stumbling stone. Like you're gonna miss that it's not the narcissist, man. It's fucking me.
Well, I had realized to my horror one time that when when I was still with my ex, a big hope of mine, and this is pretty common of a codependent as well, a big hope, a big dream of mine would be if my ex passed away somehow. I mean, all my problems would be over. Like that's the dream. Plus, I'd get life insurance. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
for me, it was like either of us. It would be American. I was like, hey, shit. If I go, okay, whatever, I won't be around.
But you start like. You even go down that road.
You go down the road of
know
like.
What I mean? Like this is a good solution, but.
In a parasitic relationship with the parasite and the host, usually what happens is one of them has to die.
Yes.
In order for that interaction to be broken.
Yeah.
And if not, like the narcissist, though, they'll come and suck your blood where you're nearly dead, then they'll let you recuperate.
Yeah.
Then if you're a dummy and let them back when you're fully healed, they'll suck more out of you. They'll leave you just enough life in you to possibly where nobody else wants you.
Yeah.
But knowing the exact time when they come back.
Get you at any time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, that's no joke getting through that. But see, I know that you're going to get through it. You've already been doing like the things that you need to do.
It's shock. It's like a part of me is like still living from 2 years ago when it's just like it's not okay. Like what's happening around me in every direction, it's not okay. And it's like here I am through it. I'm still alive. It was like my mind's kind of like trying to reach my heart, being like, hey, dude, it's okay. Like we're still breathing, and then for my brain to make amends to my heart for the choices that it made, and learning to forgive myself. And it's just like, I think I'm on my way, though.
Yeah, I think that you are, too. I can tell certain things about you, just the way that, like, you look or you react to things. Like, you're doing, like, better. You always do better than you think you are.
Yeah.
But I can see it.
And I'm happy that there's at least, for all of us, I used to curse being an alcoholic and a drug addict. But thank God there's, where I live, so many meetings for people in recovery that, and it also opened up my eyes, like a lot of meetings and stuff, they've got a lot of cluster B people in there, man.
Yeah.
Like alcoholics, like I know that narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths, whatever proper terminology, like a lot of them use drugs and alcohol too to escape from their trauma.
Yeah.
The danger is that when you mix that with like antisocial personality disorder that lacks empathy, like the destruction that they cause without second concern to anybody or anything around them, and the complete absence of like when you're not around them, like it's just they don't think about consequences. It can be very dangerous. And if you're a young foolish man as myself coming in that was codependent, my God, man, it was 20 years of madness. Part of me stayed for my sons, and another part stayed because I was codependent. It was just, it's over though.
Yeah, that's just, I was like literally just about to interrupt to say that. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible when you really think about it. But you have to remind yourself, you in particular, because we're talking about like you right now, but you as well listening.
It's over.
It's
over. I'm
it's
alive.
okay.
I made it. Yeah. And that's where kind of my self-talk has been changing up to the last few days, where it's important to stay positive and talk well to yourself.
Oh, and you guys, like, don't come around me if you're going to self-curse yourself. Like,
God.
It's such a pet peeve of mine when somebody will say something like, oh, that's if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck, or, oh, these things always happen to me, or I can't stand that because I feel like you are cursing yourself. Like the way that you speak about yourself.
We're setting yourself
matters.
up a self-fulfilled prophecy.
Yes, exactly. So never say that. Never.
Well, we're
say
a perfect
that.
team. Like
yes.
Sharon's so positive and has a great attitude, and I made up my mind at the beginning of the year, like, instead of letting pain be a motivator the way I've had my whole life, maybe I could try and let love be a motivator instead, you know?
Yeah.
And that path is very different from the path that I've been on my whole life. But I think I haven't even gotten to the middle of it yet, you know?
Well, I'm here with you,
Yes.
beckoning you on.
Thank you.
Come, Joe. So, guys, before we end, I know the video's a little bit long. I just wanted to mention, should we mention my lovely ex?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. You might as well.
Yeah, so Tuesday I have to go back to the drawing board with my ex. He has decided that he doesn't like some of the final solutions that we came up with during the mediation. He's changing them up a little bit, and now I'm stuck. Instead of doing a mediation or, well, hopefully not go to the judge, he's trying to, what does he want to do? And he's trying to figure out.
He wants to claim your son that he hasn't seen for over 2.5 years on his taxes every year, of course, and then take everybody off the health insurance, and then
and the life insurance too.
Yeah. He wants his millionaire parents to be beneficiaries for the life insurance policy he has, and not his own kids. And
guys, the wording is literally, it says something like, my client, as in my ex's client. My client will not be changing his life insurance beneficiaries, whatever it is.
So it's his parents.
It's
just a joke.
But when you think about that, I'm sitting here thinking, who else would get it? Like, I could see, like, you're married, it goes to your spouse, okay? Yes, perfect, all right? But when you're not married, who, like...
Your kids.
How?
You think? I mean,
I can't. See, this is.
I think I'm going to give
crazy.
it to my rich millionaire parents that own like 3 properties on Jersey Shores or wherever the hell it's at.
And then it said underneath it something like, this should be reciprocal though, because my attorney was saying he should have life insurance benefiting his child because he has an obligation to pay child support till he's 18 years old. So this kind of goes towards that. So his attorney wrote something along the lines of, well, this should be reciprocal. If anything should happen to Ms. So-and-so, my client would pick up at the parenting duties. And, oh, my God.
It's just sickening. He's just, and then his child support he's no longer paying.
Yeah, he stopped paying child support. Yeah, he paid it for like 3 weeks in a row, and then that was it.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that.
So, yes, that's Tuesday. But you know what, you guys, like in the past, this type of thing would really have upset me. And I was upset when things started going this way. But I don't know, like sometimes you just need somebody to tell you. And Joe, thankfully for me, told me, you know what, Sharon, we're going to deal with it, whatever, of course. So you'll lose these things that you want to have, but you're free of the narcissist. So that made me feel better than in like a worst case scenario. Like, you know what? I'm free of you.
Yeah, he can only control so much, but the game is over.
Yeah.
So this is his last minute things, and he's miserable no matter what. If he gets what he wants, it doesn't matter. He's not willing to take accountability. He screwed up to the point where he devastated everybody and every person in his path.
Yeah.
And whatever, go ahead and live your life, man.
Yeah, so that's Tuesday, so I'll let you know what goes on with that. And I guess now, Joe, what are our plans for tonight?
Oh, no, we could take a walk, chill out,
yeah,
watch a movie.
That sounds good. All right, guys, thank you, and hopefully I can get Joe to join me a little more in the midweek. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do that.
Hold you accountable. I'll put you on the hot seat.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, guys, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful week. I will see you on Wednesday, and Joe and I will definitely see you next Monday, hopefully beforehand.
Yep.
Okay?
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.